Thomas the Tank Engine has been around in one form or another for 75 years now. What started out as a simple bedtime story about living railway engines has now been told all around the world and has been part of more people's lives than the Awdry family could ever have imagined. I'm definitely one of those people, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Thomas was a major part of my life growing up, and quite frankly, because I've still not really grown up, it still holds an incredible amount of sentimental value with me today. But why Thomas? Why not other shows? Why are you watching an adult reminisce about a children's character? Who knows? So much of who I am today is because of these books and this TV show, and I had no clue that this fictional island could impact someone in such an incredible way.
The real fascination for me is that of all mechanical contrivances made by man, the steam engine is the most human.
My older brother was into Thomas before I was born, and he already had the Ertl and wooden toys, so I have very literally been surrounded by Thomas all my life. My grandparents took us to the Bluebell Railway for the first time when I must have been about 1 or 2, and I've been obsessed with trains ever since. Not in an anorak sort of way though, like taking down the numbers of modern trains or jumping for joy when the tube train arrives, just for the fascination of steam. Clearly I was born in the wrong era.
Who's that? What's the other one? Show me.
No matter what phases and trends I went through, Thomas remained my childhood favourite, and I'd want nothing more than to visit Stepney or buy a new engine.
That's nice, isn't it, Max? Yeah. Stepney, he drew that himself.
I think what fascinated me the most was the realism that Thomas offered, that no other fictional work could. The Awdry family poured so much dedication into making Sodor a believable place, that tied in neatly with real-world geography and history, with the exception that the vehicles have faces.
The fact that the characters are largely steam trains, although not all of them, has an appeal because I think the sound of a train whistle has a universal appeal.
Every book in the Railway series was based on events that happened in real life, and engines that feature are able to be seen in person. Sodor is the perfect land of escapism from difficulties in life because, although it's fictional, I'm sorry to ruin your dreams, it's just real enough to make it feel like it is there should you need to visit. A child that grows up with a new TV show then has the classics to go and watch and admire. If they want more advanced stories, then they can read the Railway series and watch as the engines mature through the ages. After that, if they're curious about the ins and outs of Sodor, they can read about its people, history and railways. By which time, they'll want to know more about real-life steam engines and railway history. There's a never-ending stream of knowledge that can be learnt on a whole range of levels. Yes, the TV series is a children's programme, but there's so much beyond that that you can only appreciate and enjoy as you get older.
It's more real than we could possibly imagine, and it seems to remind us of a world that is gone.
Right from the beginning, the Reverend W. Awdry didn't believe in talking down to children or questioning their intelligence. The characters are brutal to each other. They're rude, sulky and selfish, and they learn the hard way about being really useful. They demonstrate how to be kind and compassionate to those around them, like most other children's characters, but alongside that, they speak the language of children by their stubborn or curious attitudes.
James is getting a new coat of paint and won't stop boasting about it. Why, James? I'm the one who needs a new coat. Look at me. I'd rather not, retorted James. You're not a pleasant sight and wouldn't understand the needs of a really important engine.
My vocabulary was definitely boosted after reading the Railway series. I mean, where else would a child learn words like vulgar, or sagacity, or impertinent? Accompanying that, the mix of vibrant colours and accuracy that Awdry was always persistent upon make the illustrations easy to get lost in, and each artist offers the same world through a whole new lens. After several attempts at adapting the books for TV, and even an Andrew Lloyd Webber musical, along came Britt Allcroft & Co.'s Thomas the Friend's Train Engine and Tank. With its reoccurring locations and tin soldier people, the series essentially presented the best train set ever, where the live-action episodes filmed a toy-like world that still seemed to capture a working universe. Instead of engines just doing whatever they want, every fan knows that these face-painted people still need to get to work. Perhaps they came down Thomas's branch in his special coach, which then joined Gordon's Wild Nor'Wester Express on the main line. The milk still needs to get delivered, but obviously Daisy won't be the one taking it. If an engine has gone to the works, you know they've probably had a chat with one of the Skarloey railway engines, because they live at Croburn's Gate. There's so much context to the stories that you can only feel sorry for parents having to learn only some of it. Although the tone of the TV show is for a younger audience, episodes are incredibly well paced for such a short running time, and the repetition in the music really helps to set the scene. You know you have to keep watching when you hear this tune kick off.
All traffic halted, he announced at last.
Clear the lines, it's a runaway train!
The characters may have had sticker faces, moulded faces or no face at all, but limited with just the ability to roll their eyes, and that's all the expression that's needed to get their mood across. Thomas has always fared well with those on the autism spectrum, because the physical emotions that are made and the level of detail to grasp makes characters able to relate to their own feelings.
But it was too late.
And then there's the crashes. If you don't remember the stories, you must at least remember the accidents, runaways, fires and bridge collapses that put the models through their paces. Director David Mitton and the entire production team managed to change how the show looked and felt every season, and somehow didn't ruin its appeal. Having said that, the several alternate timelines that the brand has developed over generations give plenty of different takes on the same characters, and it's fun to take the best of each and decide what's canon yourself. So many characters from the CGI series gel well with earlier characters, and others can jump straight out of the books and blend in just as well. There are so many characters in the show that now some of them are doubling up on names. Others replace previous ones, and a few are forgotten as soon as they're introduced.
I never thought I'd say this, Thomas, that I could really do with another engine.
Another engine, sir? But you already have so many.
The newer series is a roller coaster at the best of times. It goes from terrible to terrific in a heartbeat as Mattel try not to grieve their losses. Production values frequently slip, and the appeal is often lost, but sometimes the show saves itself when someone remembers that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The production team have gone above and beyond the call of duty to prove that it is possible to please the target audience, parents and existing fans in one go. The CGI series has had some very high quality moments, but Mattel have expressed their desire to make changes to any pre-existing legacy to contend with the threat of faster paced, higher saturated competition.
Old engines can't pull trains like the young ones can.
They can if they're mended, Old Faithful, smiled his driver. And that's what's going to happen to you. You deserve it.
And a bigger push. Big line in a bit more than that, Percy. And a really big push. And here we go. Run and stop. There we go.
Whether you enjoy the newer series or not, everything that came before it still exists, and if that's not enough, the simplistic nature of Thomas makes it one of the easiest shows to recreate yourself. I don't remember when I started watching fan-made Thomas content on YouTube, but by 2012 I was inspired enough to have a go myself. Even in primary school, I remember trying to hide my Thomas bag from my friends because I thought they'd laugh at me, and yet here I was in secondary school making my own Thomas stories. Probably not coincidentally, around the same time I began volunteering at the Bluebell Railway, and so my interest for steam engines wasn't going anywhere. 8 years on, and I'm one of hundreds of people that make their own Thomas videos. So many people have mastered the art of replicating the original, or creating their own versions, and the skills and talents that have collectively developed are obvious. The fandom, community, or whatever you want to call it, might fight or just generally humiliate themselves to the outside world.
All this grumbling spreads bad atmosphere in the yard.
But the collaborative quality of work that is achieved in fan videos is undeniably impressive. Personally, I didn't know what I wanted to do in life, and I struggled through school like any other introverted teenager would, but being able to come home and share projects that you know are entertaining others was an immense stress relief. I started making my own models to use in videos, got to work with more and more people around the world, and gradually became confident enough to mention what I did to friends and family, who've all generally accepted it. I started going to events, meeting up with other like-minded people, and making friends I hope I never lose. I still didn't believe that any girl would not think what I did was weird though, so when Holly ran into my life I made sure to tell her pretty early on. I still don't understand how she accepted it and didn't judge me in the slightest, but I'm so relieved and grateful that she did. Although she likes to show off her knowledge and embarrass me to others, I absolutely knew I could not burden her with nitpicky facts and figures. But she still likes to be kept in the loop about what I'm working on and why. I promise when she voices in an episode or appears in a vlog, it's her own desire to help, and not just me being obsessive. Yay, I made you a train fan!
Yeah, I loved it!
By sixth form, still with no idea what to apply for in university, I thought why on earth would I not try to do something I enjoyed, seeing as so many other people had accepted me for it already. Having learned a lot about writing and filmmaking through Thomas, I decided to go down a film route. Obviously, I'm still young yet, and I don't have a lifetime of experience behind me, but I've learned so much and had so many incredible opportunities that I'm very lucky to have. I've met people who work or have worked on the show, seen original props and characters inspired by my own. I've got to have a laugh on TV, work with favourite and famous engines, as well as some incredibly talented people. I'm not saying that this is all because I watched Thomas growing up, but it's definitely been a major inspiration for my interests and life decisions. I've just finished university and I've had so much inspiration driving me forwards, with so many projects beside Thomas that I'd love to bring to fruition. However, no matter where life takes me, I'm very grateful to have contributed towards the collective pool of fan content that has developed over time. There are so many talented musicians, animators, 3D and physical model makers, voice artists and railway workers that have learnt much of what they do through Thomas, and I think that rolls as a testament to the significance of the brand. Nobody quite knows what will happen to it in the future, but at least for Thomas's past 75 years, there's generations of memories to be recalled and endless collections of stories yet to be told. A big thank you to all of our Patreon supporters, particularly Brighton Terrier, Alex Goodman, GBH Train, Donald 9 and Douglas 10, and HS 4000 Kestrel.